this side on the left that I am going to weld or reinforce the weld, use to reinforce the weld here on the All right, good morning. We are going to continue with the sheet metal theme today. And what I've got to do is focus on filling in these corners for this front panel here. And what I've done is designed a panel that will, with one hand, very difficult to do, go in here. Like so. And what I need to do is I've got these 1/2-inch flanges right here on the top and on this side on the left that I am going to weld or reinforce the weld, use to reinforce the weld here on these corners. And I'm going to weld this corner panel to this front step panel. So first thing I've got to do is bend up the other side. I'm going to do that, and then sorry for the shaky and unsteady video, but it's really hard to video this with one hand. But like I said, first thing I'm going to do is bend up the other side, and then we'll start setting things up to weld. Here we go. All right, we'll see how this thing fits. More like that. I think that'll work. Make sure things work over here again. Need to put a little more bend in here before I weld this up. Well, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and here's the ugly. This is only 16, actually it's probably thinner than 16 gauge. It's probably more like 18 gauge. So learning how to weld aluminum on 18 gauge consistently is not easy. And like I said in the earlier video, I was trying to get the stuff to run a 1/16 tungsten, 1/16 electrode. But I keep on getting the wrong stuff or getting sent the wrong stuff. I'm ordering the wrong stuff. It's probably my fault, but so I'm trying to do this with 3/32 electrode, and it's just at that low of amperage, it's just not wanting to party as well as I think it could. I don't know that it should, but I think it could. So I got to do some body work in here and fill these in right in here. And then I'll sand all this smooth and shape it up, and be good to go. There we go. And through the beauty of television magic and being a good grinder, the corners are in and welded up. Welded here, here, and then down this seam. So now I think what I'm going to do is I got the new throttle cable installed. It's just slightly longer, and now there's no binding. I need to fix this bracket, probably just build another one and turn this upward. I think the next thing I'm going to do, though, before I do that, is I've got the accessories for the motor. I've got a come on, brain fart, alternator, and I got the alternator bracket. So I'm going to get that hooked up or set up, and then I need to figure out how I'm going to mount the orbital and where my steering column is going to come through. Before I start figuring out how to mount this permanently. So I think I'm going to do that next, and then I'll start working on mounting the heat shield, how this is all going to tie into this front panel here, and how we're going to work it. All right, here we go. Okay, so now that I've got these accessories mounted up, I've got power steering pumps installed, idler pulley, alternator. Over in this area, I need orbital and then power steering reservoir. I want it to feed directly into the pump inlet. So the power steering reservoir is going to have to live somewhere in here. So there's going to probably need to be some bracketry in here. It needs to be installed. And I kind of wanted to get that taken care of before I tie this heat shield into this firewall plate right here. Just because I need to make sure I have access to everything. So that's what I'm going to do right now. All right. Okay, so looking at this here, I'm thinking the reservoir will go somewhere right here. That way I got a straight shot for this hose. Outlet hose, inlet hose on the pump. Hopefully that's showing up in the camera. All right, so I think, yeah, right here. So inlet hose for the pump right there. And then return right here. So if I have that sort of like that, then I have my orbital kind of right in there. It'll have to be more like right here to where it clears everything. I might have to, I probably can shoot it this direction, that way I only have to put one universal joint on. Matter of fact, I might do that. That way I only have to put one universal joint on the steering shaft. No, I'll still have to put 2. Never mind. Maybe this direction, that way, or I can still. I have clearance over here where my thumb is for the reservoir. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. It'll be like that. I can actually put it more out this way so it's not as close to the brakes assembly and I have access to everything. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I need to get some steering shaft material and some universal joints. Then I can figure out how I want to do that steering column. Well, that'll work good. Okay, so now that I kind of know where that is, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this panel right here on both sides of the engine and finish sealing off the firewall. I think what I have here is going to work just fine. I think I just need to build a flange that goes down this way and then has 2 bins in it that go that way to catch the this sheet metal on that front side. So need to get the cardboard back out, disconnect this throttle cable, and get to building that that flange on both sides. Okay. Okay, so I got my template made. I'm going to go over and transfer it to CAD design and then cut it out with the plasma table. Okay, so we got both panels done here. Driver side, passenger side. Not bad. Fit up is not bad. Just got to do a little deburring after I ran it through the bead roller and call it good. Unfortunately, I've outrun the battery on the GoPro for the time lapse, so just fill you in on what I'm doing here step by step. I've got cardboard template here for the lid. You can see it's peaked up in the middle. I've got it running really long right here. I've got to trim this line back. And what I'm probably going to end up doing with it, I was thinking I might take a flange and bend it upward and tie it into this tube somewhere toward the middle, just to keep it from kind of flopping around up and down. I'm gonna have to build some sort of it'd almost be like a scoop right here to clear the bosses on the intake. I think I'd rather do that than to cut the bosses off. I don't know. I think if I make this a little bit higher, it would allow more air through here, because this is kind of going to be a little bit of a hot box. I'm a little concerned about it being too hot. I'm already a little concerned about these coil packs and the spark plug wires, because back in there, they're going to get kind of warm. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to change spark plug wires and get ceramic boots, and may even relocate the coil packs and put them on trays up here a little higher. I'm not sure. I think if you're pulling in air, you're going fast enough, you're going to be pushing air through here, then it's going to go down toward the bottom of the car and out. But I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work until we build it and test it. So I've got template here. I've got it relieved around these tubes right there that are going upright to tie into the head mounts. And then, like I said, we're a little long here. I'm going to trim that back. And I've got these pins, and these pins my buddy Jason got me. They're called Big Thumb, but they've got the long tip on them, which is way better than a Sharpie or those Milwaukee red pins that I've been using to mark stuff with, because you're able to get in here closer to the tube and make a little bit more of an accurate line. So anyway, these are really cool. Thank you, Jason. I've been using these with all the layout and stuff, and man, it's been invaluable to have these pins. So yeah, I'm rambling. Here we go. I'm going to cut this off, get this measured up. I marked down here where it's running long around the shape of the heat shield, and I'll cut those and we'll refit it. All right, so I got my template pretty well finalized here. This right here is that bolt boss that sticks up. I've got it measured. It's 12 3/4 from this edge right here. So if I slide this in here, that's kind of where my template's going to sit. You can kind of see everything there. So I think what I'm going to do is just make a ridge through the center here. I'll cut that out and then weld it back in and do a little body work on it. I've been looking up guys, they shave all this stuff off of the intake manifold, and I don't really care that any of that stuff's there. I do kind of care that that's in the way, but my luck is I'll cut it too deep and I'll end up blowing a hole into the plenum, and I don't want to do that. I already got a little happy with shaving this off, and looks like there was a vacuum port right here that I'm going to need to plug. Because when I went to shave this off for the throttle cable bracket, I cut this off too. And anyway, so I'm kind of a little bit wary about shaving these off. I don't want to mess with it. So I'd rather just go ahead and make a little relief in this lid. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing this up, and we'll go from there. All right, so I was drawing this thing up, and one thing I forgot to do was mark out the access port or the access hole in the cover for transmission dipstick. So I went ahead and cut that in, and I'm checking it just to make sure. This is a 5-inch hole. Make sure I got plenty of room to get in there with my hand. And I think that'll work. All right, so this is what I got. I've got the lid done, got our access hole, and I've got this little step-up piece that I'm going to attempt to weld in here around the perimeter. It just steps up by about a 1/2 inch. It's just sitting in there right now. It'll be a little bit taller than that, but I think that's going to work really good. All right, here we go. Well, it's a new day. I got this lid done. I welded this in. It's open in these corners. I don't think it's going to matter much. There's a little gap there. You can see where my finger is. But I got the lid done. I put some bead rolls in it just to kind of firm it up a little bit. And I still need to drill for my access port and put the cover on here for the dipstick. So I think what I'm going to do today is figuring out how to fasten everything together, whether I'm going to use Zeus fasteners or quarter 20 bolts. That is done. The other thing I did was on this front cover is I welded these little wings because I wanted to be able to fasten it to this face as well. So I'll drill through here and put wings. So I got to do a little adjustment to get that to fit back up. There's something I would like to start concentrating on the floorboards next, but there's a couple of things that I need to figure out first. I need to figure out where my seat belts are going to mount. I have my seat belts, but I would really like to use the quick release clips and then the weld on eyelets down here on the frame for the seat belt. So you've got 5 points. You've got the 2 for the shoulder harnesses, the 2 for the lap belt, and then the 1 for the submarine belt. So I need to figure that out before I start working on floorboards. The other thing that I remembered that I need to do is down here where I've got this other firewall flange that I built. I've only got mock-up links in here. This is the link right here, obviously. And this is only 1 3/4 inch. And I need to make sure there's enough clearance for a 2-inch material here, 2-inch link. So I've been putting it off and putting it off. I've got the material. I just need to finalize and build these links, at least build these uppers so I can get going on the floor. There's a lot of little things like that that I need to do. So I think I'll probably do that today as well, or that'll be part of the plan to get done today. We'll see how far we get. I didn't want to segment this up too much, but I might have to, take a detour and just do these links. Might make that a separate video. I'm not sure, but we'll stay on the sheet metal theme for as long as we can. Get this all finalized and mounted, and I need to figure out how I'm going to tie these flanges around the bottom into the floor as well. So there's that. There's a lot of little things that I still need to start, or I still need to sort of figure out. I've been thinking of ways I want to do it, but thinking about it and actually getting it done materially is a different story. So anyway, we'll get the GoPro going and get some time lapse going, and here we go.
So close, can't deny.
All right, so new tool. This tool here is a pneumatic rib nut setter, and I just tried it. I'm gonna fasten these panels with quarter 20 fasteners. I was gonna do maybe quarter turn Zeus type fasteners, but I decided to go ahead and do these instead. And it could not be easier, and it's so slick. I'm gonna set you up on the camera over here. I've already got this panel drilled out and ready to go. I figured I better do a few at a time and start fastening these panels together with quarter 20 bolts. And anyway, we'll go from there. I'll show you. All right, so you got the riv nuts here. You got two switches on here, one's forward, one's reverse. And I got my panel, it's already pre-drilled. I used the pilot holes that I had earlier for the little, man, what are those? Clecos. Anyway, so just stick this in here. Hopefully this is in frame. There it is, done. So then I got to load up another one. Get this in, hopefully I'll get this better in the frame so you can see it. Wrong way again. On the back side, it just crimps these riv nuts against the panel, and it stops because I've got this thing set at a certain PSI, which is 90. It's great. It's working out great. So I got those done. I'm gonna go ahead and put the panel back, and then I'm going to do these other two.
Got too close, can't deny. Where have you been all my life? It's a sin, love is blind. What you do, how'd you get so pretty? Are you leaving? Are you leaving?
All right, so I got my lid here, the heat shield, and I am laying out where I want to put my fasteners. There's one here, 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 here. So there's gonna be, what is that? 7 total. And then I'm gonna have to figure out a way to fasten my cover for the dipstick. But I was thinking I want to make this easier to get off, and you know, quick to access underneath here in case I need to get down in here and do something in the engine. And rather than doing the quarter 20 fasteners, I think I'm going to do Zeus fasteners. And what I have are these little Zeus fasteners. They're spring loaded. It's going to take quite a bit more work to put these in, but I think it'll be worth it. These are captured and they'll stay with the panel. So I have to drill a hole. Basically drill a hole in here. Then I have a little dimpler that will dimple the hole so it will sit flush. And then there'll be a spring that I need to put on the other side of the panel. And that will catch this little quarter turn cam in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that, and we'll see how that works. I don't know if the depth of these is gonna work with the panel, with the springs I have, but we'll see. All right, so after a bunch of consideration and figuring, I decided not to use the quarter turn fasteners for this top. What I have isn't gonna work, and it's a shit ton of work to make it work. And it still is gonna be not right. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the 1/4-20 on here. It's probably too much, but I don't know. I wasted over an hour and a half contemplating and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, but I think I'm just gonna go with the 1/4-turn or the 1/4-20 bolts on here. I'm gonna do something on this to make it easy to swing out of the way so I can get down in there and check the transmission. Remember, this is all going to be covered by another panel, and this is all going to be covered by another panel, and then there'll be a dash on here. So I'm going to definitely make that easy to remove, or easier or faster to remove. I'm just going to have to take a 1/4-20 1/4-inch socket with me, and that's the way it's going to be. So if I have to do anything out on the trail or in the field or whatever. But anyway, I'm really happy with the doghouse. I still got to do all the nutserts on the top here and finish that up, but I think I'm going to go ahead and stop right here because, again, like I said, the next thing I need to do is start working on the floor. I need to get these upper links done to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and focus on doing that. I'm going to call that a video. Thank you guys for checking everything out and watching the progress. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next